Welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. I hope everyone is doing well. MJ here, and today is one of those rainy, cold days here in northeastern PA, so a perfect day for painting and getting projects done and getting models assembled. Perfect day. It's October the 5th, Tuesday, and basically what I did today, a lot of what I did is work on my new 172 scale project that I started, and I worked on the Orc War Riders and also on some of the French cavalry. And I showed all these guys in the recent Martin and Julie update that we post. So I've been basically working on basing the figures. That's a big thing with 172 scale, because when you're working with 172 scale, for those of you that haven't worked with it, these kits normally do not bring any bases. So you either have to buy your bases, or the way I do it, and the cheaper way, is to make my bases, right? And I do it because it's a lot cheaper. It really is a lot cheaper, especially when you're dealing with 172 scale. It usually brings a lot of figures, in the kits. So, all right, let's just take a look at it. Okay, so I'm preparing some bases for this 172 scale cavalry, and I'm using 9-inch by 11-inch sheets of this filing paper. Okay. And this has about 5 sheets, these packs. They're very, very cheap. I get them at Walmart in the hardware section. They're very, very cheap, and so I usually pick up a few packs. I use these in a lot of different things, these sheets. I make my own little files with them, and I use them. I usually like to tape these up a little bit on one side and then just use it as a file. So I make a lot of different size files, and I have different sized grains. This is like a medium grain. They have one that's finer, and then they have the really rough one. So basically I cut out these rectangles, and when I cut one and I measure one, then I just use that as a template and cut the others, right? And then I just glue them on to this really thick card. This is like a thick cardboard, all right? It is flexible, but glue it on. So I'm just going to do that with this last one. I need 5 because I'm going to be cleaning up 5 horses and 5 riders. So I'm going to have a little bit of work still before I actually get to put them on the base. Now, once this is done, I'm going to pull this out. Okay. Get as much of that residue, and I'm using tacky glue. It's my favorite glue. I love that stuff, really. It's really good glue. People say, there's no difference between white glues. No, I don't believe that. That's not really true. Take a big heavy dinosaur book, ironically, with 2 big dinos in the cover for weight, and just slam it on. And just leave it there for a while, and that's how, once that glue dries pretty quickly, you get this nice, straight, hardened piece, right? So let me show you the other cavalry pieces here. Let's move over here, because I have the knights already set up on a tray. These are those old Warhammer Fantasy trays. So they fit quite nicely, And the nice thing about this thin cardboard is I can overlap it. So to fit, make sure all of them fit. And I'm doing the Oathmark formula, 5 in front, 5 in back. So I'm going to be basing my orcs next. So that's what I do. And the reason why I use the paper, it's because it's so much easier for me. I like the texturing. I'll go back, do a little dry brushing on the paper, and that's it. What I do is Uncle Adam's method, because it's so easy too, is just add the crazy glue, and I'm using Loctite glue. That's what I'm using right now. And just put that over that base there. And so they're going to have these little mounds, unfortunately, but, you know, it is what it is. I could actually, if I wanted to, cut a lot of that off and just leave a little flat piece under the leg. But, you know, they stay a lot better this way. So I'm just going to leave them with their protective base, you know. And then I go back and paint everything with a nice tan color that matches the sandpaper and give it everything a little dry brush. Now, I should have had those base coated before I put them on the base, but I kind of rushed it a little bit. All right, so for my infantry, now infantry, I use these things. I buy these in bags of 500. So there's 500 of these in here. These are those like gaming chips, poker chips, bingo chips, whatever. They make really, really nice bases for 172 scale. Okay. Look at these orcs. Now, I hate that they came in red, but oh well. And again, these are going to need a lot of cleaning, but those infantry pieces I usually mount in things like this. Stuff is excellent for basing small miniatures. You know, it really is. And you can shape it. You can do a lot of stuff with it. I bought a pack of 500 on Amazon for about $7. All right. So 500, I can do 500 figures, you know, for $7. And so it's a lot cheaper than getting standard wargaming bases, but of course it's up to the taste of everyone. If somebody really prefers the bases, the standard wargaming bases, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Whatever, I just like to go the cheaper route in this case because these boxes usually contain a lot of figures, so I'm going to be basing a lot of figures. Because I'm going to be using regiment trays, what I do to this is clip off, okay, and I make a nice, can't say it's a square because it's not a perfect square, but close to it. Just snip off the round ends. And the beautiful thing about these bases, I mean, this plastic, is that it doesn't crack. Like a lot of these plastics, if you try to do this, it cracks and breaks. Not this. So there. And then I take my filing paper and just, you know, file some of the edges. Also, I cut these papers when I'm cutting the sandpaper. I'm using scissors that I don't care about. You know, don't use like good scissors or a good blade because it will like wreak havoc on the blade. So, all right. So I have a square piece, and this will be good for regiment trays. You know, they just fit better with the regiment trays, and that's it. So I can even make some smaller trays because I can fit way more than 5 in the front row there. So again, I'm thinking about Oathmark, but also there will be other games that we wanna use these on. So now with these, once I have that, and let me just clip a figure. Why the hell not? I have you guys already, so I'll just show you what I'm doing. Now this guy has to be cleaned up before I glue him. He has to be cleaned up and everything, but see. Now again, it has these, now if I want to, I can file this down a bit, you know, make it so that it's not so thick, and I might do that. I'm not really that particular about that stuff. I don't care if it has the little mound, as long as everything's nicely covered by the sand or whatever I'm using. So once he's glued on there, then I do my Uncle Adam method and use my Loctite glue, put a little bit of baking powder on the base, blow it off, and it's a little messy. Blow it off, and that's it. So just going to do that real quick. Okay, so he actually didn't need too much cleaning, which is fine. So I glued him on that little rectangle that I cut. Now, in order to put the baking powder onto the figure, I don't want it to get all over the place. So I just take a craft stick and snip it off a little bit so it'll act like a little spoon. Okay, and there's some baking powder on there. But let's put on the glue first. Let's do this over here. Push this up because I have a lot of stuff. I'm going to put this there. Okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Okay, and again, this is Uncle Adam's method of basing. I'm just going to spread it with a toothpick before it gets super sticky. Okay, and now just going to take a little bit of this baking powder, spread it about, kind of dip it in a little bit. And I just do this so I don't get it all over the model. It's going to get on the legs, and that's okay. I can blow it off as long as there's no super glue on the legs. That's okay. That's not a big deal. And just blow the excess off. Now I find that this is a good way to make snow too. You can make snow this way if they're in a snowy setting. All right, so this dries super quickly, as you can imagine, and I didn't get any on the foot. There's a couple little spots I'm gonna get, but this guy is done, and now I can base coat him. Okay, so these are the orcs, the orc riders. I have the entire orc rider box put together, and these had to be cleaned. These were not as bad. There's still a little bit of cleaning to do, but these were not as bad as the knights that I'm working on now. Okay, I'm working on these now, and look at some of the flash. I mean, it's incredible. It's a lot of flash. But like I said, that's okay. I just take my time and clean it up. You know, I'm thinking about how I'm going to paint these. And here's one that's cleaned up. I got to do the saddle a little bit more, but it's not too bad. Maybe do a little bit of the legs. And I'm using my collection of microfiles for the job. I also got my cutters. Okay. And of course my glue. Now these knights, they only come in 3 pieces. There's the little... I gotta show you the ones I just made. There's the ones with the lance, and then there's a couple of them with swords. So there's only like 3 parts at most to the knights. You know, nothing really to them. And these guys were only 2 parts, the rider and the warg. So, you know, not too bad. Not too bad. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to say hi, touch base, and let you guys know what's going on today, Tuesday, here in the studio, October 5th, and tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm hoping to get in a game of a solo game of some sort, and then another game with Julie over the weekend. So we'll see how it goes this week. I have some medical stuff to attend to, but once that is said and done, then her and I can maybe have a game, and I can have a solo game, bring that to the channel. So I do want to try Rain in Hell Solitaire, solo, the new solo rules that the expansion has. So, all right, folks, I'm going to keep working on this 172 stuff. That's pretty much a lot of what I'm going to be doing off camera, and painting miniatures and getting miniatures assembled and all that for all the upcoming things that we have planned. So, stay tuned. A lot of stuff coming to the channel. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk soon.